Asim Raza, a pleasure to have you here in London. How are you?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me here.
Everybody is appreciating how lavish this film looks, the scale of it, the vision that you have, the cinematography, the sets, the costumes, the attention to detail. All of it is amazing, Asim. And I have to tell you to your face that it's on par with anywhere else in the world, you know. We look at Sanjay Leela Bhansali and we see his kind of scale. We look at Zoya Akhtar and we see her filmmaking essence as well. And you, Asim, have developed your own very distinct style with just 2 films, you know. And I want to go through the music videos of Parey Hut Love that we know of so far. And you can tell me a bit about the idea,
Sure.
the concept, and how we got to this finished product.
Surely. I'm so happy that you're saying something which nobody said, and that is that just like these big names that you took, I am also trying to develop my own style.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is when you're starting new or you're just 2 films or 3 films old, people do not try to focus on what are the similarities in your own work. They just keep trying to
compare you to other people. Yeah.
And say, oh, so you're following this one and you're copying that one. That's not the case at all. None of the artists, none of the directors would ever want to look like a Me Too.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is get inspired, and that's done.
Everybody's inspired.
Everyone is inspired, but as long as within that you have your own flavor.
Let's start with Iqbal, which was the first video that you released for this film.
Yes.
Talk to me a bit about the costumes firstly, because that's the most striking thing that I see firstly, is the richness in textures.
Before that, I'll also talk about every song has a name, obviously a title, and I was very conscious to give every title a meaningful, a meaning behind the song or behind the moment in the film, because every song is supposed to tell the story as well. It's part of the narrative, so it should move with the narrative. So this is called Iqbal. Now, what is Iqbal? Iqbal is that one moment in life which sometimes changes your life. Yeah. So that's that one moment in the film. You know, it could be love at first sight, that moment. It could be like, oh, okay, I'm taken, or for that matter, any moment. But this is the moment of the film. Now, because this was the moment of the film, it needed to be like a big dream. Generally, my dreams are very beautiful. I hope everybody's dreams are beautiful.
Do you dream in these kind of textures and these kind of colors?
This is exactly how I dream. This is my world, what you see here.
Mira appears in your dreams, does she?
Mira appears as beautiful in my dreams.
Of course.
So my thing is that, you know, when I was conceiving this, I said, man, this needs to look like that colorful dream which every youngster today, you know, dreams about and kind of literally wants to go for.
Yeah.
And it needed to be lavish, it needed to be grand, it needed to be colorful. And
you know, I have to ask you, the costume specifically, when I first watched Iqbal, of course Pakistan is modernizing, it's becoming more and more liberal and progressive, but to me this reminds me a lot of Indian costumes. I don't know if you've seen that comment anywhere else before, but certainly Mira's outfit, the length of their cholis, for example, is something that I would associate more with Bollywood than Pakistan.
Okay, so you're saying this because obviously, you know, Pakistan has seen 20 years in this progress of the country, which took away culture from us and in the name of religion gave us a political, socio surrounding, which taught us to, you know, just see through a tunnel only and not have our vibrance open to our eyes. Pakistan is not just about a culture or a society or a religion. It's as varied as any other country could be. And we unfortunately have completely forgotten about it. Inspirations can come from any culture, because as long as you're part of that culture, which will come later because there's a Parsi wedding happening there as well. So my thing was that I get inspired and I want to give people something more than what they have. And that is when you become a dream merchant. You know, when you're sharing dreams with people and they're like, I have this, but I want to have that. And that is when you feel that, okay, this 2 hours journey in a black room, in a dark room was worth it, because I went through something which I want to have or want to experience, but I said, oh, I have it at home. Why did I spend thousands of.
So it has to be larger than life,
Yes.
essentially. Your color palette is all blues, pinks, purples in
Yeah,
this song.
yeah.
Why did you choose that color palette? How did it enhance your frame?
So again, like when you were talking about costumes, obviously costume is just one part of the production design. Costumes were very kindly done by Umar Saeed, who's a big name of this industry, Pakistani industry. But other than that, me and my production designer, Hina, we sat down and we said, okay, so if it's an Iqbal, and as I said, it is the moment, it has to be very vibrant. It has to really look like, you know, a La La Land, you know. And for a Pakistani or an Asian, a La La Land is as colorful as this, as vibrant as this. So the combination of purples and pinks and blues is the most striking combination you can throw out. And it immediately, like you're just saying, it immediately takes your attention. So we very categorically designed, this film actually has 4 chapters.
Right.
And every chapter actually has a color palette to it,
Right.
according to the mood, the way film is going to move. So this is the first chapter, and it is the most vibrant one of them all. So we wanted the striking colors to come out and just completely take people's attention and say, oh, how vibrant is this moment?
Mira, she makes a special appearance in this song. And I think this song was announced even before she did Baji.
Yes, yes,
So
for sure.
this was going to be her big comeback moment.
We were hoping so.
And I love the way you've presented her in this song because it's so unlike maybe
Right.
what we expect Mira to be presented as. Why did you decide to cast her and how did that happen?
I'll tell you, because, you know, like every time when I watch old films, and I watch Pakistani films, not just when I say old, I don't watch them, just the 20-year-old films. I watch the 40, 50-year-old films of Pakistan. And obviously, so I follow all my actors from Pakistani industry. And I thought, Mira, being Mira, and as vibrant, as colorful as she is, still does not have a single dance track to her credit. If you think back, you can't think of a song which Mira did in her career as a dance track and is memorable.
Yeah.
And I said, that's unusual, you know? And if I bring her in a dance track and make her the spotlight and give her that backdrop which she's missing in her career, which is mashallah so vast that I'm no one to add anything, but I thought this one color is missing, and that is why I thought Mira should be it.
But it's still not, it is Mira, but it's not Mira as we think of Mira, you know? It's so classy.
Right.
And she's a classy lady, but it's classier than anything we've seen her do before. Was that a conscious decision to present her like she's never been seen?
That was, you see, like, by now we have all realized that Mira is a quirky young lady. You know, she has her own quirks.
Yeah.
And when you'll watch the film, you'd realize that because it's a cameo, it's a small but beautiful appearance from Mira, but you will find that little quirk also at some point. Having said that, I don't think there's anything wrong with being quirky as long as you carry yourself with class. Yeah. And the idea was never to let anybody down. If anything, they're my stars and I want to see them up there, not down there. Stars are always, they belong to the skies. So, but within that sky, some are just there and some twinkle. And she twinkles, you know. So I wanted her to look like a star, and within that galaxy of stars, I wanted her to twinkle also.
She does.
So I think once you'll watch the film, you'll enjoy her more, actually.
How do you balance having your lead star, Maya Ali, and your supporting actress, Zara Noor Abbas, and a special appearance from Mira in one frame? Because there are frames where the three of them are together. Yeah. How do you make sure that that looks right and that everybody is given their due?
So, frankly, as a storyteller, I spoke to all my actors, and actually you've missed one. Rachel is also there.
Yes.
So there are 4 of them actually. So my thing was that I told them, listen, this is a song where all of them get together and celebrate life. Celebrations do not happen with a person dancing or singing or being focused at. Celebration happens when, you know, a collection of stars come together. So the good part was that they all understood that collectiveness and that whole inclusiveness of the situation. And I very consciously made the song look like a collection of people where you can actually keep spotting, oh, that's the star I know. Oh, that's the star I know. Versus, oh, this is the star in your face. There you go. So I personally wanted it to look like a real wedding where you spot people and say, oh my God, Mira was there too. You know? So, and I'm happy that you're saying this because I feel I'm successful in doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's almost like that within that crowd, you spot people and you say, this one is there. Oh my God, this one is there too.
We've spoken too much about Iqbal now.
All right.
We've played it 3 times,
Oh,
so we
wow.
must move on to the next song now, which is going to be Bekha Na.
Okay, so again, the name.
Yes, tell me.
So you see, as I said, Iqbal was that moment, and Bekha Na, it's Bekha Na. Don't misdirect me.
Yeah.
Don't lead me to a wrong direction. So again, the name says it all. It's about this guy who has issues with commitment in life. He has a phobia called commitment phobia. And when he feels that finally I am falling in love, it needs to again look mesmerizing, you know. So while he's saying, don't lead me into the wrong direction, it needed to look mesmerizing enough that people would like, even I would get disillusioned in a scenario like this.
What I love about the presentation of this song is the pace at which you build that chemistry between these 2 lead characters.
Right.
Your camera movements are very slow, if at all.
If at all, yeah.
The lighting is dim, but there's a glow on these 2 characters' faces. It's just beautifully presented. Tell me the concept behind this.
So simple. The concept was to stay pure. This is a pure moment, and this is pure love, which has nothing else to offer but a connection which happens without even knowing about it. That's what the song is saying, and I just wanted that to come through in visuals as well.
But you know, when there's so many songs like this, there's so many songs that show a romance blooming between 2 individuals. You know, the Golgappa scene, I'm sure you'll agree, has been done many times.
Many times, yeah.
How do you try and stay original in a moment like this?
So you see, the thing is that it's just like me and you talking. This happens every day.
Yeah.
I'm sure you talk to somebody every morning or every afternoon.
Yeah.
How do we make it different? It's the person you're talking to. He brings or she brings the difference. Similarly, there are limited things which we actually do every day, and I wanted to stay within that. I didn't want them to show them eating something which we don't eat every day, or we don't on the run go for.
Yeah.
I wanted to show them doing the same things which could be called mundane, but just add that flavor that all of a sudden the same mundane thing starts looking exciting and interesting and fresh. And that is the challenge, I feel. You know, if they say that if you have all the colors, you get completely confused and end up using probably the wrong color.
Yeah.
But when you just have a certain limited amount of palette, that is where the right challenge comes in, and that is when you end up picking probably the right tones and the right textures. And I feel that limitation really has given me in so many ways the right direction in so many moments of this film.
The other thing I want to ask you about Bekha Na is visually, it showcases the beauty of your 2 lead pair. I mean, they're a good looking pair, aren't they? They look great together on screen.
And that's the saddest part, because they're so good looking that people tend to ignore their talent.
But how important is it to have good looking people in an Asim Raza movie? Because I'm starting to think that it is important. I mean, the cast of Horman Jahan was a very good looking cast.
I'll be very honest. I can't help but appreciate beauty, you know.
Yeah.
I just, you know, it's a human instinct, I feel. But if people insist it isn't, then I would say, okay, at least it's very much
I think
my
it is. We
instinct.
all like to look at good people, good looking people.
My thing is that, as I said, these are my dreams. And in my dreams, I see beautiful things, beautiful people, beautiful locations, beautiful surroundings. So just like any other beautiful dream, a film needs to look beautiful in every way. And if you're lucky to have people who have good talent as well as good looks, why not utilize them?
So, for example, if you have a Maya or a Shariar and naturally they're good-looking people, as a filmmaker, what do you do to accentuate their beauty? What do you do to make sure that it's presented in the best possible? Because, you know, both these people have done other films as well, and yet in your film, arguably, I would say they look their best.
Well, all I'll say is that, you know, I'm sure you've heard the word Kathak.
Yeah.
Kathak is coming from Katha, and Katha is telling a story, basically. So now, you know, every dance form has its own way of telling a story, and Kathak has its own way of telling a story. But what Kathak would do is, Kathak would tell you that a man is supposed to behave and look like a man, and a woman is supposed to look, and I'm not trying to, God forbid, differentiate between the two, but what I'm saying is that there's an elegance of sorts which a man looks good with, and another kind of elegance with which a woman looks
So do you play on that?
So I really play on that. I want the guy to behave in a certain beautiful, if you may call it, way, which would make him look like a beautiful man. And a woman, with all her confidence and exuberance, should look like a lady.
On to the next one, because we are slowly but surely running out of time as well. Okay, Haye Dil Bechara.
All right.
Tell me about this one.
So what do you think, what's the meaning of Haye Dil Bechara?
My poor heart.
There we go. So this is the second chapter of the film, that where he actually realizes the poor me, self-pity.
Right,
That's what he's going through. And the heartbreak is actually now slowly acting upon him, not yet to hit him hard, but he's slowly realizing that what has happened to him.
So there's a lot more to this film than people think, because Asim, the
yes.
accusation is that this is just going to be a very beautiful looking film with very little substance.
What's wrong with that?
I don't mind that at all either. I'm all for that
but
too.
But jokes aside, it's not. You see, yes, what it is that it's a simple story, but it is a story. When Imran Aslam writes a script, you can never underestimate the fact that there would be a story. But yeah, a clever writer who's writing a film for 2 hours, 10, 15 minutes, would keep in mind that if you tell too many things in one story, none would go through.
Sure.
So what we learn in storytelling is that you say one thing, but say it strongly enough that it goes home.
Visually, again, your color palette has completely changed to creams, ivories, white, gold. We have a dash of pink from Zara as well.
Yeah.
Again, is that how much did you work on the production design before you went on set?
I work on my production design with my production designer through and through, because as an architect, because I was trained as an architect.
Right, okay.
So as an architect,
that explains a lot.
Like this color palette. Now you remember Iqbal,
Yeah.
and now when you look at this, what is happening is that it's as dreamy as that, but all of a sudden the brilliance of colors has gone to very soft and pastel shades of the same palette.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, that was the pulp where he was actually getting hit by that, the love at first sight moment, and this is the moment where he's realizing the heart ache. So his heart is aching, so everything is looking pale to him. So hence what you see here.
Are we ready to go on to the next one?
All right,
so we are
yes.
going on to our final one now, which was probably the most anticipated, I would say, actually.
Yeah.
Because, of course, Mira Khan was supposed to be your leading lady of
Right,
this film.
right.
For whatever circumstances, she's not. But I know that she still wanted to be part of it in whatever way she could.
And I still wanted her to be part of it in whichever way, yes.
And of course, this is how Saiyan came about. Now, I have a bit of an issue with you, Asim, which is that for a song that we were anticipating the most, you gave us the least amount of it. It's only, I think, 1 minute, 30 seconds that you've given us.
There's always a thought behind every action.
Please tell me there's more than that in the movie.
There's a lot more than that.
Okay, well, that's a good start. I want you to look at the screen as well, really, and I want you to tell me what this brings to you.
This brings to me the announcement of the arrival of the queen of my life. If there would be any Meena Kumari in my life.
Mira Khan?
Yes. So I just felt that, the vibrance is there. We have done it all. How do we make it look different? Because if Myra is coming for a certain amount of time in the film, her arrival should actually make it look like Myra's arrival.
I mean, this literally gives you chills down your spine. It's so beautiful.
So it says, Eri Sakhi More Piya Ghar Aayo. So that's what I was saying. And I'm talking to my audience at that time, and I'm saying, finally, my Piya is arrived. Yeah. So that's the whole idea. Let's talk to audience. Let's give them layers. Let's give them reasons to think, oh my God, this director at this moment in time in the film was trying to say this. And just like, it's not just another visual for me. None of them are another visuals for me. When Maya comes into the film, and you'll see it when you watch, there's a different way she comes in. And because my princesses arrive with a certain gloss and glamour, And that's how Maya would arrive in the film. But then, obviously, with every young princess, probably the situation would become a little younger, but the hierarchy would always be there.
How do you achieve this scale on the kind of budgets that Pakistani filmmakers are working with?
Okay,
because look at this, look at the attention to detail, you know, the shadows that you've got coming through, everything is just...
So, you know, like all you see here is blood and sweat. Is all I can tell you. Because you're right, you know, we are limited by not just the budgets. Budgets surely are very limited, but even if you get the budgets, you don't have the right size of studios. You don't have the right kind of lights. You still are struggling with the right kind of cameras. Yeah. Obviously, we do have them now, and that's why we achieved whatever we achieved. But we still have a lot more to desire. And within that limited resources, I wanted to create something which becomes timeless. And I want this to be remembered, you know, not today, but 100 years gone. I still want people to go back to it and say, okay, this was made 100 years ago.
But you know, Asim, also, you're a visionary in the way you think, but it's not just you, right? Like, the technicians that you're working with, there is a pattern of people cutting corners in Pakistani films to achieve a close to dreamlike scale, but not quite have what they want. You've not done that. You've not cut any corners here.
Tell me, are you a chef? Do you cook?
Not much, but a little bit. Yeah.
And sometimes you do.
Yeah, sometimes.
And when you do,
yeah, you want it to be the best.
You want it to be the best, right? You make a mess in the kitchen,
yeah.
but you're taking out everything from, you know, the best, you know, sauces, the best this, the best that, because you don't think at that point that how much am I spending on it and what a mess I'm creating around it. I'm as bad as that, trust me. When I'm doing my feature films, I don't care what am I doing. You know, half the things come from my own house, which I have collected over the period of years. And I don't mind putting them or hanging them there at the cost of sometimes them actually getting broken. Yeah. But my thing is, no man, this is what I want to take with me. This is what I want to leave behind me. Yeah. And if these are the memories that I want to live with, they have to be the best memories.
You knew that there were going to be comparisons with Devdas, there were going to be comparisons with Pakiza, Jan, Mughal-e-Azam even. How do you make your classical dance number unique?
So the way I do it, I look at everything. I look at Pakiza also, and I look at Devdas also. But then I look at Umrao Janada also, and I look at Anjuman also. And I look at Suraya Bhopali also. And I want to understand how different directors projected their characters, which had similarities to my character, in a certain light. And what I do is, I try to learn. And these are all those books that you go to the library for getting some inspirations from. Research. What is research? Research is not copying. Research is getting inspired by different ideas and then making your own out of them. Yeah. Here as well, you know, you'll see inspirations from a lot of places. But to me, it is like, you know, we're coming full circle. Hassan Tariq's cinema, for me, was all about larger than life dreams.
Finally
Beauty.
then,
yes.
We've got 30 seconds. I see a new Mira Khan on screen this year, and I've told her this myself. I see a more uninhibited Mira Khan on screen. Did you notice a difference between when you were directing her in Home Jahan to this song?
Yes, for sure. You're right. She is a lot more confident, and she cares less now about people. And which is I've been hammering this in her head for years now. That listen, as long as you're answerable to yourself, that's good enough. You don't need to answer everyone. And yes, it shows. And sometimes when it was not happening that way, you should ask her someday, I'm sure very soon you would be interviewing her, that I used to remind her, even during the shoot, I used to go and tell her, listen, you're sitting in front and 20 girls are behind you. Make it worth it. You should look like you deserve the seat.
You know what? She really does. And you've done an amazing job. Asim, it's been such a pleasure going through these videos. I wish we had longer.
Thank you so much. I hope I didn't waste your time.
No, you were absolutely amazing. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
Asian Network.